if you are receiving a payment from Services Australia, then part of your obligations on that payment is to tell us about any change of your circumstances within 14 days.
Right.
So if you don't tell us about change of your circumstances within 14 days, what can happen is if you get payments you're not actually eligible for, then we may have to ask for those payments to come back. So we need you to pay the money we gave you that we shouldn't have given you in the first place because you didn't tell us that things have changed.
Just a random thing, two things there. What's an example of change of circumstances?
That's great. I'm really glad you asked that question. That is an awesome question. So when you get payments from us, we're going to send you letters. And that might be hard copy letters that actually go in your letterbox, or it could be the online ones that go in your MyGov digital inbox. Have a look at the back of those letters because often you will find a quite comprehensive list of the things that you need to tell us about. So the big tip is to read that list because it's going to be on there. It's going to be quite comprehensive. But what we're talking about here is I've changed address is a massive one. I've changed my marital status. I'm now single or I'm now a member of a couple. I've going overseas. I've started work. I've changed jobs. I've become self-employed.
Okay, on that, going overseas, if you're doing a 2-week holiday to Thailand, not a big deal?
2 weeks is fine. You don't actually need to let us know. If it's 6 weeks or less, you don't need to let us know.
Awesome, continue.
We will. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Or I should say, in saying that, that's the age pension rules. For 2 weeks, you don't need to let us know. Different payments, different rules. The other one is changes to your income and assets. So significant changes for changes to your bank balances, changes to your share portfolio, those sorts of things. They're the sorts of things that we need to know about. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then just you touched on it's important to update because if, for example, you got an inheritance, landed in your bank account, 5 months went on because you may be grieving, which is totally human and please grieve and all that stuff. And, oh, crap, we've got to get around to tell Centrelink we've got an extra 800,000 or 500 or 200. If there was an overpayment, and I'll just make a number up of $3,000 over that 6-month period, how militant is your army? Are they saying, we want the money back right now, or can you work a payment plan? Can you offset that each fortnight for the next month? How hectic are you?
It is actually designed to work with you. And certainly if you're already if you continue to be eligible for a payment from us, then you can set payment plans and part of that payment and you can change that and that's all the sort of thing you can do.
Oh, but if it knocks you off,
if you're not on a payment, then either you we'll send you a letter that will encourage you to pay it off completely, but you can still come up with payment arrangements. It's just the basic message is talk to us. If you have a debt, talk to us. And it doesn't mean – often I get people worrying about it. There's some implications of, criminal. I've done something criminal. It's not about doing something criminal. It's about I just got money I wasn't supposed to, and I just need to pay that money back. Now, of course, that's an entirely different story. If you're deliberately trying to commit fraud, then you are doing something criminal, and there's all sorts of different procedures.
Not much grace when you're blatantly breaking the law.
That's right. But if it's just a simple issue of, I've received money I shouldn't, and if it's still sitting in my bank account, I could just pay it back. Or if I don't have it directly to do that, can come up with an arrangement, but I need to speak to Services Australia first. Yeah. Now, on your scenario, the one that you were just giving, just a couple of points on an inheritance while we're just there. It's not your money until it's actively been distributed to you.
Yeah, so if it's sitting in the estate with your name on it, that's cute. It's not yours yet.
That's correct. The only time that we would hesitate on that one is if you are actively trying to keep it in the estate to avoid having it hit your bank account and you're starting to really push that out. And we start going, hang on a second. Now,
please explain.
Yes, why haven't you received the money? It is yours. But if you're just waiting for a normal inheritance, they can take a while. And although you might know the exact figure that's coming, until it's in your bank account, it's not your money. You don't need to tell us about it because you haven't got it yet. Yeah. But then when you do get it, make sure you tell us within 14 days. If it removes eligibility, then you are eligible to the pension up until that point. You're not eligible once the money's yours. Tell us within 14 days to avoid the debt happening. If you do keep getting payments, then just simply put them somewhere. Just keep them in a little account, and so where the debt goes, you just pay that money back really quickly.
Okay, question. We've talked about overpayments. For example, We had $200,000 cash that was in a bank account that was accessible to Centrelink. We ended up finally renovating the kitchen, the bathroom, and we spent $200,000 on the house, which we've moved that $200,000 from a deemed asset into a not deemed
into the family home.
Into the family home, effectively.
Yep.
And then life happens, and oh crap, we need to update Centrelink. It's been more than 14 days. They owe us money now. Will they backdate to the date? Why are you shaking your head? Let me finish. Will they backdate to the date when the money left the account into the home, or will they just adjust it going forward?
They will only adjust going forward.
You sound like the ATO. If we owe you money, we won't tell you that much, but if you...
Yeah, so if you don't, that's the other thing about telling us within 14 days, because if your rate increases, but you don't let us know within 14 days, then that's just money you've missed out on. So just keep to the 14-day rule and you'll be giving yourself covered for that. Yeah.
So big change of circumstances. If in doubt, ask.
Yes, simply get in contact with us and ask and tell us what's going on. We can't work with things that are going to happen.
No.
So if you know in a month's time that you're going to be spending, because that's the plan says that I've got a prepayment and it's going to be coming due on
out of the builder's
Yep, and I know on
invoice.
the 1st of August I'm going to pay that money and it's going to be $15,000 or 30 or whatever it might be. Can I tell you now on the 1st of July? You can't.
Yeah.
We can only act after it's occurred. So as long as you tell us once the money's gone, get on the phone, but better still do it online. That's the sort of thing that's why online is so much better. It's so much easier to let us know about those changes. So do it online within the 14 days and you're getting your bases covered.
Back to the inheritance, and I'll say it now and we might pin it until the deeming section, but if you inherited a house worth $800,000, in theory it's not different if you receive the $800,000 in cash, is it?
The asset value is the same.
Yes.
It's only the income would be different.
Yeah. Okay. We'll put a pin in it and we'll come back to it in deeming. Hey, it's Glenn here. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You made it to the end. Can I ask a favor? Can you hit that like button and maybe hit subscribe if you want to get notified when we release further videos just like this one, whether you watch the Money, Money, Money podcast or Retire Right. And remember, if you want to learn more about investing, I've got an investing book, The Quick Start Guide to Investing, and there's a link in the description to get your hands on a copy. Thank you so much. Bye.